I never know what you're up to. I don't even ask anymore because you're a man of mystery. But I was glad to hear you were in Vegas and doing well in the WSOP last week.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, it was a fun week. Amazing that both the tournaments I went deep in, I lost way ahead. 2 outers. It frustrates me, but we tend to forget when we hit those 2 outers, and they obviously do happen. Let's get straight into some actionable betting information. Dodgers, huge favorite, obviously, against the Chicago White Sox, more than -200. Total here of 2. How do we bet a game like this? Total
Well, I'll
of
tell you
9.
what, we've talked about this quite often for the last 2 years on the show. And when the Dodgers are playing, it's been a very simple money-making opportunity to either play the underdog outright at usually a pretty good plus money price, or we lay the 1.5 with the Dodgers. So you just kind of have to decide which side you like, and that dictates how you play it. I'm not backing the worst team in baseball, the White Sox, against perhaps the best team, with the most talented team. They haven't necessarily been the best team this year, but coming in, we all thought they were the best team, and the White Sox have definitely been the worst team. So we're not going to overthink this. It's Dodgers or pass, and if you're going to play the Dodgers, you play the run line. And once again, it's working. In fact, over the last 15 games, they've either won outright by 2 runs or more or lost outright. And the point is, you're not going to lay over $2. You're going to get it down to -130, a very reasonable price on the -1.5 run line. And in fact, in the entire month of June, 20-some games now, they've only had 2 wins by exactly a run. They've either won outright by margin or they've lost outright. And once again, I don't see the White Sox winning this game. Their chance was last night with Crochet on the mound. And we talked about this on MLB First Pitch yesterday. And by the way, I'll be on today with Brian Leonard at 2 o'clock Eastern. We'll be talking all the baseball games here on WagerTalk TV. And I mentioned yesterday, it's always a handicapper's dilemma when you have maybe the best pitcher in the American League against one of the best teams in baseball. And the Dodgers were a very short favorite yesterday, right around a pick-em price in some spots. And they won 3-0. Crochet pitched okay, but the White Sox couldn't score, and that wasn't a fluke. This is a team that's only averaging 3 runs a game and batting .218, including just .213 at home. Dodgers don't have Mookie, but if anything, that's been a wake-up call. They really broke out in Colorado earlier last week. Obviously, that's thin air and altitude, but we saw that with the Braves in years past. 3 years ago with Acuna out, they won the World Series. The Braves offense has also been heating up here in recent weeks. This is a very talented Dodgers team, and I think they're starting to play with a chip on their shoulder after a lackluster, mediocre start by their standards, and also the fact that a superstar is out. They're not going to overlook the worst team in baseball, so it's Dodgers or pass, and if you're going to play them, you're going to lay the 1.5 and get a much better price at -130.
So the Dodgers bets are colder now than they've been. Certainly without Mookie. I was looking at the numbers. They've scored 3 or less in half their last dozen games. So it's not like they're consistently scoring runs in bunches right now. We can make a case that Bobby Miller's maybe their worst starter. I mean, he was on the IL. He was, he's the last time back. First start back since February or since April, and he got hit pretty hard. Dodgers have lost each of his last 3 starts. A big winning team that's losing for this particular hurler. Isn't there a case to be made for the White Sox today?
Well, I think the case to be made is what you just said, that you're fading one of the weaker pitchers, even though it's still one of the best teams in baseball. But it's really hard to ever back the White Sox unless Crochet is on the mound. Flexen's looked okay. He had a good start his last time out against Houston. Keep in mind, Miller's return, good point. He hadn't pitched since early April. He returns last week, and that was one of those altitude games in Coors Field. He did get hit, but once again, very hitter-friendly ballpark. And now is facing probably the worst offense in baseball. So, yeah, there's always concerns with every handicap. Miller would be the concern here. But I will say this, the Dodgers maybe aren't scoring runs, but the offense is playing better. In fact, 9 hits or more is kind of an above-average game by my standards. And if you look at the Dodgers, their last 7 games, they've had 9 hits or more in 6 of the last 7 games. So I think that offense is maybe doing a little bit better than people realize.
Steve Merril joining us, everybody. Steve, you're the $2 Tuesday handicapper. You're on a 13-3 run right now. You have your first 5% best bet of the entire baseball season. It is up today. It goes with your picture of when you were 20. Guys, if you've never purchased from WagerTalk, every Tuesday we take the hottest handicapper and we make them the $2 Tuesday handicapper. So today, that is Steve Merril. You literally get his strongest play so far this entire baseball season for only $2. Take advantage of that. It comes with analysis. You learn why Steve likes that play, and you get to read his thought process, etc., etc. It's a perfect way to start your journey with Wager Talk, and Steve is as good as it gets, one of the best handicappers we have. Again, current 13-3 run. This is his first 5% play this entire baseball season. It's only $2. Steve, the Marlins and Royals, another big favorite here. Minus 195, a total of 9.5. Where are you going in this game?
Yeah, on the surface, you look at Kansas City, they've really cooled off. They've lost, 6 of their last 8. Had lost 6 out of 7, but playing a bad team when you've been on a bad run, I think offense is the elixir you need, and that was the case yesterday. They didn't crush the ball, only 6 hits, but they still managed to win 4-1. Wanted to talk about this game for a couple reasons. First of all, overnight, before yesterday, as I'm doing my handicapping for everything a day ahead of time like I do, and by the way, that strong $2 Tuesday best bet was posted last night on Monday, so if you got in the last few hours last night on Monday, it was actually $2 Monday, and it's yet another reason to be a direct subscriber. You know, the $2 play is great. It's a 90% discount off the normal price of $35. But when you sign up as a direct subscriber, you don't have to keep checking the website, refreshing all day to see when the plays are up, because they're sent to you instantly by email with that analysis. My clients got the game last night. You can still get it right now. But one of the games on my short list going into today last night was the over in this game. But what I wanted to see was the Kansas City offense to kind of heat up a little bit, and I didn't see that. They only had 6 hits. They've had now 6 hits or less in 4 straight games, and it's priced at 9.5. So that kept me off the over in this game. But also on my short list was the Royals, and I still do like them. I'm going to give them out as a free play here on the show. Was not bet worthy once again because I'd like to see more offense from Kansas City. But even if it is a lower scoring game, I think they can get by this Marlins team, which has really struggled this season. Marlins made the playoffs last year. Going into this week, every team in the National League was within a couple games of the wild card spot, except for 2 teams, the Rockies and the Marlins. That's how bad Miami's been this season. They're just 27-51. They're just 11-24 on the road. And as is often the case with bad teams like the White Sox, who we just talked about, their offense has been awful. In fact, they're averaging less runs per game than the White Sox on the road, just 2.9 runs per game, 220 batting average. It's not a fluke that they're 11-24 away from home. Kansas City, meanwhile, has been one of the best home teams in baseball this year, 26-14 at home. Got back on track with the 4-1 win last night. So I do like Kansas City in this game. Just like the Dodger game, though, I'm not going to lay the big price. We're going to get that way down on the run line, minus 1.5, minus 105. Instead of laying over $2, we're laying minus 105. Yes, the cooled offense is a concern laying the run in the half, but I'd much rather cut that juice in half. And we don't have to win nearly as many plays when we do that. You just can't be laying over $2 consistently in baseball if you're taking a long-term consistent investment approach. So I like the Royals. I'd still lean over, but I would have liked 9 or less in this one for the total.
So Kansas City won 56 games last year. They were expected to be maybe not every bit as bad this year, but certainly they're expected to be a bottom feeder in a bottom feeder division. They got off to a hot start, a surprisingly hot start. They're 4-11 now, their last 15 games. Is there money to be made with the Royals, or is this a team that over the next, what are we, basically at the halfway point of the MLB season, you're going to make money betting on KC or betting against KC over the back half of the campaign? Because my gut says we should be looking for spots to fade the Royals, not lay $2 with them.
Thing is, that spot was 2 weeks ago, like you just said. What was it, 4-11 the last 15? And I mentioned that on several shows. I was doing the baseball show, Teddy, a couple weeks ago, and I forget who they were playing that Friday night, but they were a home dog with a 21-8 record on the season. And I said the odds are telling us something. This is a team that's not as good as the 21-8 record, and like you said, they've been way below 500 the last couple weeks. That was the fade spot, and that's actually one of the reasons I like them tonight. I liked them yesterday. I like them tonight. Other than the Oakland series, and they only won 1 out of 3 against Oakland, not great. They played the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Rangers for 9 of the other 12 games over the past 2 weeks. So they've played the defending World Series champs and then the Dodgers and Yankees, maybe the 2 best teams in baseball. this is a monumental step down in class. And that's why even with the win last night, I don't think they take their foot off the gas. And their offensive numbers at home have been really good this year. They're 5.5 runs a game, hitting almost 270. So I think this also could be where we see that offense wake up. And that's why I like the over. I like Kansas City. Kansas City team total over would not be a bad way to play this game, as well as that incorporates both of those premises. Currently about 5.5. I would have liked 5 or less. But once again, I do think the Royals wake up here in the short term. Long term, I agree with you. They're not a playoff team, and they might be a fade again at some point. But I think that major fade spot was the last couple of weeks.
Steve Merril, everyone. Guys, remember, it is $2 Tuesday. Steve, it's your first 5% play of the entire season. Tell us why people should buy your play for only $2.
Yeah, people come on and say it's my strongest play of the year, but it's pretty obvious. I have not had a 5% baseball play all season, so it's not even debatable. This is my strongest play all season. And I didn't even have one last year. In fact, you have to go back to July of 22, almost 2 years ago, for the last 5% MLB play. And by the way, it won. And how selective am I in all sports on 5%ers? This is only the fourth one I've released in over the past year, and the other ones all won as well. So we're 3-0 over the past year with 5%ers in any sport, including my first one in baseball this season. And it's at a great time because not only am I 13-3, the last 16, I'm on a 19-6, 76% run the past 2.5 weeks. By the way, a free play is also on my page. If you can't afford the $2, I feel you, man. Go get the free play. There's a free bonus opinion on my page right now. But that $2 best bet is a strong one. And I want you to get a taste for how I do things with baseball. We have some line value. We have the pitching matchup, and it's also a great situational play. All those lined up. That's why it is my first 5% play this baseball season. And it's Tuesday, so I told everyone, let's make it the Tuesday $2 play as well, so that there's no excuse for everyone out there not to get it. Go get it right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Check out the free play, and also check the baseball show out at 2 Eastern live here and then archived afterwards, as I'll be on later today, talking all the baseball games on the board for Tuesday.
Perfect stuff. Steve Merril, everybody. So, Teddy, we're going to bring Marco D'Angelo in, and I'm going to make a quick comment, then I'll throw to you, Teddy. So, obviously, and a lot of people are talking about this in the chat room, Dave Coken tweeted out this morning that he has decided to no longer do chemo and that he will allow the natural course of things to take effect. And, I just want to say really quickly that, when you build a business, and we started this business, I mean, we're like 9 years in or something. There's seminal moments when you build a business, your first sale. A lot of people have that, first dollar up in their store to signify, their first sale. For us, one of our seminal moments at Wager Talk was when Dave Coken joined us as an exclusive handicapper. This is a true legend in the sport, in our business, a real pioneer, one of the first, earliest handicappers of all time, a man that is very recognizable. He was on the USA Network with Jim Feist for a show that really impacted all people, Teddy, myself, Marco, everybody. And a guy who was very highly sought after as a handicapper on a lot of different websites scattered throughout the internet. And he decided to join Wager Talk exclusively about 5-6 years ago. And that was one of the seminal moments in our business. It was the time that the partners, me, Marco, and Johnny at the time, understood how far we have come as a company, what we offer to our staff and our clients. It was a time where we really felt like, Wager Talk had made it. It was the biggest signing that we'd ever done at the time. And now Dave Coken is fighting for his life, and I want to send him an insane amount of love from me, my family, and the Wager Talk family. A nicer guy you can't find, engaging, warm, kind, sweet, recognizable, and a true legend in the space. So few people can live on this planet and claim to reach the Mount Rushmore in any field that they do, whether it's science, medicine, lawyer, accountant, government, whatever it may be. Dave Coken achieved that. Dave Coken achieved legendary status in the industry that he chose. And for that, we are all jealous and proud. Dave, so much love, my friend. Fight, enjoy the last act, and your name will be spoken for many, many years to come, Teddy.
Yeah. Today's been a hard day for me. I mean, Dave Coken was someone who I met early on in my time in Vegas, extraordinarily influential, someone who I didn't want to like. When I came to Vegas, the established handicapper was my enemy. I was going to do things my way. You got to know Dave. It's impossible not to like the guy, from the first time I met him. So I'm having a hard time this morning. I will say this. At Dave Coken on Twitter, send him a note. He'll appreciate it. At Dave Coken again. I mean, really. And it's a hard morning. That's all. I don't know what else to say. He's here now. You won't be here, for much longer. So if there's something you want to say to Dave, do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm emotional, and I can see your emotion too.
It's hard, man. Today's a hard morning.
Marco.
Well said, Prez. I give you a lot of grief on how you handle things, and that was perfect. It's been a rough morning. I owe Dave a lot. He helped my radio career.
Give Marco a minute.
Yeah.
Let's give Marco a minute. There's no. That's where we're at.
I need a minute too.
Yeah. So,
Andy Lang, you're a young guy. You have, you probably don't remember Dave on USA Network, but a man that has just engaged and taken a lot of you young guys under his wing and really helped and talked. Anything you want to add?
This morning, I only did a couple shows with Dave, but he doesn't know how much I learned from him. And I remember when I first got to WagerTalk, the very first video I ever watched was Dave, and he was I can't remember if it was KBO or MLB, but it was baseball. And I remember I was like, all right, let's see who I got to go up against. Teddy, I was with you, let's see who's my enemy. Who do I got to be better than? Sure. And I watched Dave, and I was like, oh my God, I hope I can talk about any sport like that man is talking about baseball. Like, it was just beautiful. He could just talk about baseball so eloquently and so intelligently. And I remember immediately going from who's my competition to, oh my God, I got to step up my game. There was just something really pure and natural about listening to him, especially baseball. He could talk about any sport, but especially baseball. And there was just something magical about it where you looked at him and you just knew, hey, he found what he loved to do. He found what he was put on this earth to do, and he got to do it. And he's still doing it till the absolute end. And it puts a smile on my face. I know it's sad for all of you guys that have known him, personally for much, much longer than I have. But I have an uncle who is still doing what he loves, and he's in his 80s. And I asked him once, like, why don't you quit and just retire? And he was like, retire and do what? This is what I love.
Yeah.
And it's always rung true with me. And I will always remember Dave just with his just doing what he loved until the absolute end. It's inspiring to me. So I know it's sad. I will be celebrating Dave, and he doesn't know that I learned a bunch from him. We were on different tracks in life, but he's one that always stuck out with me. I will absolutely always remember him.
And we're not going to talk about Dave in the past tense. Dave's still with us.
Yes.
All right. So again, you can he can't really talk, but he can type. So I would encourage you, if you have anything you want to say, send him an email at Dave Coken on Twitter. The positive feedback that he might get from us certainly won't hurt.
Well, yeah, he appreciates it. I mean, he texted me a few days ago privately thanking me for bringing him into the Wager Talk family, and it obviously wasn't just me, but me, Marco, and Johnny. Anyway, I think Marco really summed it up best. Actions speak louder than words, and he couldn't get the words out. And I understand that. Very emotional day. But Dave, if you're watching this show, stay strong, be proud, and we absolutely love you. We wish you well, my friend. Yeah, your name will be spoken for many years. Marco, we got to get into sports betting again, man. Let's just go straight to it, brother, because we could go on all day about the great Dave Coken. Minnesota playing Arizona tonight. Minnesota minus 115. How do we bet this game?
Well, guys, Arizona is returning from a road trip, an East Coast road trip, and I like to fade teams in that spot. And in the final two games of that road trip against Philadelphia, Arizona was held to one run in both games. Now, granted, one of those games was against one of the hottest pitchers in baseball, Zach Wheeler, but still, this is a team that's not scoring a lot of runs, and they're going to be facing Minnesota's Joe Ryan, who has allowed 2 runs or less in 5 of his last 6 starts, and for the season, 3 runs or less in 12 of his 15 starts. Ryan is a pitcher that goes 6 or 7 innings. He's not your typical 5 innings and they yank him right away. This is a guy that'll get some depth, and one of the reasons why I'm going to look full game rather than go first 5. Arizona's going to counter with Brandon Pfaadt. I've got some red flags with him in his last couple starts. In his last 2 starts, he did allow 1 run 2 starts back and 3 runs in his last start. But I'm going to circle that last start. This is a guy that for the majority of his starts, in fact, 6 straight prior to the last one, he had struck out 5 to 9 batters. He does get strikeouts. In his last start, even though he only gave up 3 runs, he had 0 strikeouts. That is a huge red flag for me. And I think, you hear me make references to pitchers. I look at them. I look at their game-by-game analysis, their stats, and I do it like I'm reading the racing form at the track. Pitchers, like horses, go in and out of form, and I think he's about to go out of form. I'm going to take the hotter team. Minnesota's 8-3 over their last 11 games. I'll ride a hot pitcher in Joe Ryan, a hot team in Minnesota, and fade Arizona returning home from the road trip. Give me Minnesota against Arizona tonight, full game wager.
So Joe Ryan's got really impressive numbers. You talked about some of them. I mean, consistently keeping Minnesota in games with a chance to win. And yet, when you look at the actual results of the games that he's pitching, Twins are 500. He's put up these monster numbers, and Minnesota's 7-7 his last 14 starts, dating back to the beginning of April. When you see a guy like that who's been pretty dominant, but the team hasn't been consistently winning for him, does that concern you? Is that one of those things is that a red flag? Is that a non-factor? And what do you attribute that to?
Well, Teddy, it's frustrating as a handicapper when you got a good pitcher that is, pitching his guts out and can't get any run support. But sometimes I think it's a mental issue. And that mental issue is, the team knows they got the ace up on the board, pitching. And maybe they don't come into the game, as focused, knowing that, hey, we don't have to be on our best game because we got, Joe on the hill. Whereas if it's one of those mediocre guys, it drives you crazy the other way. You got a guy that pitches poorly, but yet gets 6 runs of, support. That's a situation that I can't explain to you, but I'm looking at current form and the fact that they have won 8 of their last 11 games. I'm going to ride that with Minnesota and Ryan today.
Marco D'Angelo joining us, everyone, co-founder of WagerTalk.com. Marco has been rolling. We tell you this every time he comes on. Nothing has changed. Made over $12,000 for $100 bettors his last 170 days, all sports combined. What do you have going for the clients tonight?
Tonight, my feature game is my 4% American League game of the week, and I'm including in that package the rest of my baseball plays today. So you're going to get 3 or 4 plays total today. The 4% is already loaded. I'll continue to add plays to the package as the day goes on, and I confirm lineups and injury reports. But it's been a great 2024, Prez. You say it every time I come on, and knock on wood, we had a 2-2 night last night. One of those frustrating nights because it was looking 3-1. If it was football season and Teddy had the bad beat segment, it would have been my Chicago Cubs play last night, going to the bottom of the ninth, winning 4-2, and end up losing 5-4. That's a difference of a 3-1 night versus a 2-2 night. But we've got a big play tonight, and looking forward to it. You can head over to WagerTalk.com to grab the package. Don't forget, today's Load Your Cart Day. 25% off anything you put in your cart.
Yeah, well, let's go through that. Basically, we do that promo semi-regularly. It's really, really well received. Any handicapper, as many handicappers, whatever you can put into your cart, you get 25% off. If you ever were to play your package, which is ultimately the best way to play and the most effective financially, today's the day. You put that package into the cart, use the code Phil to win, and you get 25% off. So if you wanted to buy, for instance, Teddy's football, a year of Teddy, a year of Marco. Okay, Teddy's shaking his head.
Yeah, as it says, it excludes early bird football subscriptions. So
it
it's
does.
not something you can use. Yeah, it's not something you can use to get because we have the early bird pricing on the football subscriptions is already cheaper than you're going to get. So it excludes that, but any monthly, any seasonal, all that kind of stuff, yearly packages, et cetera, you can take off 25, and of course all the daily packages. Phil to win as your promo code at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, and it's one of our best. It's one of our best and most desired promo that we give out, and it is today. So Phil to win is the promo code for your shopping cart. Marco, Pirates at Reds, Cincinnati -125. Is that where we're going?
That's where we're going, Prez. And we're looking at this one. We've got 2 pitchers that are coming off absolute gems in their last game. Keller for the Pirates went 7 innings, a shutout ball, while Green for the Reds went 6 1/3 of shutout ball. And ironically, they pitched against each other in Pittsburgh last week. This is a quick revenge game for these two. The Pirates ended up winning the game 1-0. Neither pitcher factored into the decision. Keller has faced Cincinnati 15 times in his career. That was clearly one of his best outings for sure, because his lifetime ERA against the Reds is 5.45, and his whip is a very high 1.56. Now, Green has only faced Pittsburgh 5 times, and his ERA is 1.55 versus the Pirates, and he's got a whip of 0.96. I expect Green to have continued success against the Pirates, especially since the Pirates are struggling to score runs right now. They did score 5 runs last night. It was on the wrong end of a lopsided 11-5 loss. But if you go back a week with the Pirates, that was the most runs they scored in any game last night. Pittsburgh scored a total of 8 runs in its previous 5 games prior to last night. And I think that's going to rear its ugly head tonight against Green. A couple stats for you that favor Cincinnati as well. You hear me talk a lot about the coin flip games, and the coin flip games in baseball is the -125 to +125. If Vegas is putting a number up with that price, they're telling you basically this is a coin flip. Well, the Pirates are not a coin flip in that situation. In those games over the last 2 seasons, the Pirates are just 42-60. Big time loser on that one. and Cincinnati, because they have gone over the total in their last 2 games. They get on a roll when they do that. They're 12-5 after 2 or more consecutive overs this season. So I'm going to ride the hot pitching of Green, the better hitting of the Reds. I'm going to go full game in this one as well because I rate the Reds bullpen better than the Pirates bullpen. And let's go ahead and take Cincinnati to down my Pittsburgh Pirates tonight.
So Mitch Keller has arguably been the single most underrated pitcher in baseball for the last 2 months. In his last 8 starts since the beginning of May, the Pirates are 7-1. He gave up 4 runs in one of those starts, still went 6 full innings. In the other 7, he gave up a total of 5 runs. So we're talking about a guy that's given up a total of 9 runs in his last 8 trips to the hill, and the Pirates are 7-1 in those 8 games. Why do you want to fade this guy?
This is, again, one of those spots. I'm looking at the past history with him against the Reds. I'm also looking at the scenario of back-to-back starts. It's tough. You know, you hear me talk about pitchers have the advantage all the time, first time around the league over the hitters with being familiar with their stuff. That fades, obviously, the more you see him. As I told you, he's faced the Reds 15 times. But the fact that he's facing them in back-to-back starts, I think the Reds are going to be able to get to him. And I am just concerned about the Pirates. There's no question the Pirates have been getting good pitching. You talk about the core of this pitching staff with Keller in the 2 rookies, Jones, and, of course, this is a pitching staff. But they're getting no runs, and the bullpen has not been good. Too often they blow games late. All of that, I'm going to ride the Reds. I just don't like the way the Pirates are playing in general right now.
Marco D'Angelo. Marco, thanks for joining us. Sorry about the emotions, but it really came through. Kick ass tonight, my friend. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, take a second out of your day and hit that like button, please. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have so much content on this channel. It's absolutely amazing, and we love having you with us. Teddy, you've got your big game breakdown, and we still have Andy Lang to go. We are running late. We'll skip anything that I have to say about your big game breakdown. I hand the mic to you.
Big game breakdown. Let's talk my first NFL season win opinion of the year. The NFL season win report is on the horizon. Tuesday, July 2nd, next Tuesday, 7 days from today, is the release date. Noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Working NFL every day now. And let's start with Buffalo. Right now, Buffalo's total 10.5 wins, juiced to the under. That's the highest total in the AFC East. They are the favorites to win the division again. They have won the division each of the last 4 years, and they've gone over 10.5 wins each of the last 4 years. And they've had a top 5 offense each of the last 4 years. In general, we're going to expect the same until proven different. In general, we like good organizations, winning coaches, and elite quarterbacks. That's what the Bills have. That's why Buffalo under won't be on my season win report. That being said, if we're playing Buffalo, we're playing Buffalo under. This team has only one way to go. They've been here. They've been here for years. This year, the losses are significant. New defense coordinator promoted from within, don't worry about it too much. New OC came in middle of the season last year, don't worry about that too much. Nonetheless, there are changes from an organization that's been pretty well stable. You know, Brandon Beane, the GM, came here in 2017. He's engineered the turnaround. Sean McDermott's been here with him the whole way. So it's not that much of a change when you're talking about promoting from within on the defense and bringing a guy that was here last year to coordinate the offense. All that being said, boy, there are some issues with Buffalo in terms of personnel. All right. They have issues in terms of the receiving core, lots of question marks. The secondary is very much loaded with question marks. The schedule is absolutely brutal. They're bottom 10 in salary cap space. And the league isn't that worried. You know, they got 2 Monday Night Football, both early, 1 Sunday night game, December 1st versus San Fran. It's not a nightmare. There are 3 extra games, by the way, at Baltimore, KC, and Detroit. They play the NFC West, AFC South, and, of course, their own division mates. Yeah, Buffalo's going to be good. Do I think they're still going to be elite this year? Win 11 games or more? I don't. Am I playing them under? Again, this is a lean, not a bet. The organization is good. The quarterback is good. That leaves us with a lean towards the Bills under 10.5 wins. There's your big game breakdown. Prez, back to you.
Teddy, let's keep this show moving. Guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow about, well, really quick. Stunk last night in NHL. Man, I had such a great NHL season and just messed it all up in my playoffs. I want to apologize to any of the clients who bought my NHL playoffs. Really just didn't see it right at all, and it affects me. It guts me. Obviously, I've been doing this for 30-something years. These things happen. I'm just glad it's over, frankly, and I'm looking forward to the NFL starting, college football, and us getting all back into full swing. Andy Lang joining us. Andy, let's get straight into it, my friend. You've got a prop bet for us on Diego Lopez, a UFC. It's a big, big fight card this coming weekend. Where are you going with Diego?
I just can't stop betting on Diego Lopez. He just keeps cashing tickets. This is 3 fights in a row that he's won in the first round. And Prez, don't forget, he has the best hair in all of UFC. Just absolutely gorgeous head of hair, just flowing from front to back. And he gets in a yes, what? It's beautiful.
I don't even know which one he is.
He's
the one with the
flowing. Thank you, Teddy. The full head of hair that's flowing, just absolutely beautiful. It gets really long in the
bang. Back. The guy with the bang.
God, it's so good. Yeah, he's so good. Just a beautiful head of hair.
That's no Jeff Bridges hair, dude. Yeah, no. Well, Gavin Newsom has better hair. Jeff Bridges, Andy Gart. No, dude. That guy's hairstyle's ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
We'll agree to disagree. All right, so fight-wise, he's fighting Brian Ortega, and Brian Ortega has come in to save this fight. This fight card is a mess. Fights canceled, rebooked again. And so we got a Brian Ortega who is so unmotivated for this fight. Teddy, what do you say? Read the quotes. All you have to do is listen to Brian Ortega here. He's fighting at 145. Here's his quote. There's no title fight for me anytime soon because of what's going on. So I'm just going to move up weight divisions. And he's taking this fight on short notice. He says, let's be honest, I can't train for 2 weeks. It's a 2-week weight cut. We're just going to go in there and literally start fighting. We can watch as much tape, but that's not enough. There's not enough time to process everything. And then I just figured, why not? When's the last time something that came up with this that makes me this excited? He is not at all interested in this fight. He's moving up weight divisions. His big strength is on the ground, and unfortunately for him, Diego Lopez is great on the ground. Ortega's striking is not very good on the feet. Lopez is coming off of 2 straight first-round knockouts. He's got the advantage on the feet. His defense on the ground is going to be good enough. Ortega really doesn't want anything to do with this fight. It's a huge paycheck because he saved a fight. So I get the motivated fighter, the younger up-and-coming fighter against the older fighter who just doesn't seem like he's that interested. So Diego Lopez money line is how I'm playing this one.
Diego Lopez, UFC, a 303. Let's turn our attention to golf. And these are the bets in golf that I like the best. The top 20 finishes, top 10 finishes, those type of wagers. You don't need to sweat your guy actually winning the thing. And it's not a big payout. But top 20 finishes I know are a big part of your portfolio when it comes to golf. Let's talk about someone you like to finish in the top 20 this week. That would be Min Woo Lee. Tell us why and what price we can get to support him.
Yeah, what a great spot to take Min Woo Lee to finish in the top 20 at plus money, plus 105. First off, he's a great guy to root for because on social media he has this tag, let me cook. And so fans come out wearing chef's hats. So you're going to see a bunch of fans wearing chef's hats rooting for him. So you're going to have a lot of fun rooting for him. And this is a guy that 22 out of the top 25 PGA Tour players are not playing this week. This is a very weak field. The last 5 tournaments that he's played in, he's finished 26th or better. And 3 of those were the Masters, the PGA Championship, and the U.S. Open majors. He's finishing top 25 in the best events. He's top 10 in total strokes gained in the field the last 3 months. Teddy, he's the 3rd highest betting favorite to win outright, and we only need a top 20 finish at plus money. This is a very easy course. He should shred it. I expect him to be in the top 5, so I will happily take this plus money on top 20.
Andy Lang. Andy,
You go.
let me ask
Teddy.
you one more. Yeah, I'm because this is the one I'm interested in. Jahmyr Gibbs, NFL. Rushing touchdowns, the total touchdowns or rushing touchdowns for this season? We're looking at
Rushing touchdowns.
Rushing touchdowns over under 7.5. Now, my rule for running backs is I only play unders. All right. I only play unders. Year in, year out, the guy that's supposed to be all that, he gets hyped, he gets hurt, we never hear from him again. You're looking at over here. Tell me why this go with running backs, why we're taking an over instead of an under like we should be taking, because all the running backs gets hurt and none of them are any different from the rest of them.
You are so right about unders. I cashed an under on Ronald Acuna under stolen bases because of an injury. I saw Tatis just got put on IL. That's going to cash my under on total hits for this season. This breaks every rule, and yet I love it. He had 10 rushing touchdowns last year. What I loved is he got better as the year went on, and the Lions learned to trust him when they got in close. No rushing touchdowns in the first 4 games for him last year, then 5 rushing touchdowns in the last 5 games, as well as 1 in each playoff game. And this is a Lions team that loves rushing the ball into the end zone when they get in close. Last year, the Lions rushed for 27 touchdowns, only passed for 30. In 2022, they rushed for 23 touchdowns and passed for 29. David Montgomery is absolutely going to get his touchdowns. I just think they learned to trust Jahmyr Gibbs over the entire field. I think he gets his touches inside, and there's more than enough rushing touchdowns on this Lions offense for both Montgomery and Gibbs to go over. So I will break every running back rule in the book, and I'll just roll with Jahmyr Gibbs over his rushing touchdowns.
Andy Lang, everyone. Andy, what do you have to promote?
Well, the cross-sport parlays that are sweeping the nation. We've hit 4 in a row. We've hit 20 out of our last 28. We got a 4% cross-sport. Oh yeah, these have been the best thing that we've had going all year. These are incredible. We've hit 65% of them this year. So with 4%, cross-sport parlay is up. Like you said, we've hit 4 in a row. Looking to make it 5 in a row with this one, and we will have a couple more attached to that as the week goes on. So it's 4% play, but definitely go get Steve Merrill's 2% play. Get Marco's play. Those guys are on fire. But after you cash those, go get my 4% cross-sport parlay.
There we go. Andy Lang, everyone. Great show, Teddy. An emotional show. Guys, Teddy mentioned earlier, please send Dave Coken some love on Twitter, at Dave Coken, DaveCokin. Dave, we love you. You can reach out anytime. Teddy covers. We got another show going tomorrow. Great lineup of guests. But let's end this one today, my friend. Take us home.
Sure. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel with another edition of WagerTalk Today. Cheers.